Hey, what's up and how's it going, MRBers? I'm so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today on the Mick Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. I'm your co-host Mike Mick Rock Wilson, and NXT hailed from the Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. And the show kicked off with a match that I thought was out of place, but I can understand why they put it as the first match because after that match created a good flow, so overall I thought this episode of NXT had a great flow behind it. With that being said, that very first match was Hunico and Camacho in a tag team match against Jonathan Ornigan and Chris Roswell, and that was pretty much a jobber squash match. And with that being said, it was over in an instant, about like 10 or 20 seconds long, where Camacho got in the Samoan drop and Hunico hit the Swanton bomb and got the victory over those guys. The only nitpicking thing that I don't like from Hunico is that I think he needs to change his finishing maneuver to something else, because it reminds me too much of a guy that does that pose. So with that being said, yeah, I think that Hunico needs to come up with something different going into his tag team matches. And then shortly after that, we saw them being interviewed, and they made their statement. They want the NXT Tag Team Championships. And to be honest with you, you came back, you do a jobber match, it's over in like seconds, and you want to be involved in the Tag Team Championship match already. I think that the NXT needs to build up a lot more than just coming back from and competing in a jobber squash match. They need to build up Hunico and Camacho properly going into a championship match for the NXT Tag Team Champions, the Ascension. I think that's the biggest flaw that NXT is doing now in the tag team division, is allowing guys that just came back and now all of a sudden they're number one contenders. That really don't make sense at all. But what I like is that when we got to the Ascension promo, when they accept the challenge, I like how the Ascension feels like a tag team with a different variety. Connor O'Brien, his promos, he is a loud-spoken kind of guy, and he really gets his point across, and he has that really creepy, eerie laugh at the end. I thought it is really cool about Connor O'Brien. And with Rick Victor, he's really soft-spoken, and it's also eerie. So those two really blend well, and they work together really well as a tag team in the promos and in the ring. And when Conor O'Brien had Kenneth Cameron, they really felt like a team. And it just don't feel right after he's gone for some weird reason. But I do like that the Ascension is still there, and they have a lot of momentum going into this future match they're going to have, which I don't think that Hunico and Camacho are going to come out on top because of the way NXT booked that tag team. Enough said, let's move on. Bo Dallas comes out, and he talked about coming back from his world tour. Please just stop talking. I know I said this before, I'll say it many, many times. I know a certain guy by the name of Brendan Lee is not going to like me saying this, but I think that Bo Dallas really is torture on the microphone. I would rather hear nails on the chalkboard. I said it many times before, where it just sounds torture when he speaks, and it's not believable. If he comes off as more of a believable heel than the way he speaks, he wouldn't be a lot better on the microphone. And so that's the only issue I have with that promo. JBL came out, and he kind of put Bo Dallas over, of him talking about him being the face of NXT, and then he mentions after that Randy Orton being the face of the WWE. So, it's working in a way where you see the face of a company go against the guy that wants to become the champion. Instead of being the face, he wants to be the wrestler. That kind of thing with Sami Zayn. I like that Sami Zayn is playing the Daniel Bryan of this storyline. Even though it seems recycled, it makes sense because the fans really enjoy Sami Zayn in the ring. And his promos are actually not that bad. I think he's a better wrestler than he is cutting promos. He can always work on that as well. And with that being said, Sami Zayn also does improve on the mic every time he comes out. So he's actually doing pretty good. And I like how in that promo he called Bo Dallas a delusional cheeseball, which caused some cheeseball chants directly to Bo Dallas. It's something to go over for the fans to chant something for Bo Dallas instead of the usual no more Bo, go home Bo, etc., etc. So it gives the audience something, funny and cool and fresh to chant to Bo Dallas. So all in all, it was a not half bad segment. It wasn't really the best. I thought JBL's promo was a little hit and miss, but he got the point across, which I thought was actually pretty good. So with all that being said, what happened was that JBL announced that there's going to be a Beat the Clock challenge where the winner will face Bo Dallas for the NXT Championship. The first match, Colin Cassidy versus Alexander Rusev. I thought that this match was actually an okay match. I like that how Colin Cassidy was utilized in that match. And it really felt like, NXT never really didn't treat him over like crap, but I like how he kept fighting and fighting until Alexander Rusev made him tap out. So it made Colin Cassidy actually look a little credible throughout that match. And the only thing I don't like was the next match after that, where Tyler Breeze faced Cassius Ohno in the Beat the Clock challenge. I like the idea of, the sense of urgency. I like how they sold that throughout that match with the near fall after near fall after near fall until Cassius Ohno got the roll-out victory over Tyler Breeze. And the loss actually looked good on Tyler Breeze. It didn't feel like he was buried. So with that being said, like I said, I like how he lost the match and he sold his emotions well. That's why I don't think Tyler Breeze was actually buried 6 feet under. So, and with that being said, we saw throughout that match when Cassius Ohno was outside the ring, Tyler Breeze went out to get Cassius Ohno to try to get a pin. That didn't make sense. Even William Regal mentioned it. Why would you want to waste seconds in a match trying to get the opponent back in the ring to get a 3 count? Because there was, like 2 or 3 minutes left on the clock. If I were in Tyler Breeze's situation, I would I would receive the count of victory to beat the clock because there's a lot of time on the clock. There was a couple of minutes left. So with that being said, I think that was the big mistake that happened in that match. But overall, it was so not half bad. We also saw backstage with Bayley, and I like how she sells herself as a character. I thought that was a really good promo she did backstage, talking about Charlotte turning on her. And so I like to see what's going to happen now when she does meet with Charlotte. Hopefully those two, coming off after that heel turn, have good chemistry. Keep the ball rolling. Also, we saw Adrian Neville go one-on-one with Aiden English. And what I really like about this match is that we saw Aiden English already in the ring, and he didn't sing for the audience, even though he probably did. It was off camera. We never got to see it on TV, so I like how they used Aiden English as a heel, and the fans got more over with Adrian Neville than Aiden English. And not only that, I love how that match was very, very quick. Mere seconds left. There was only 3 seconds left on the clock until Adrian Neville got the victory after his finishing maneuver, and I really loved how that match was portrayed because Aiden English came off as the guy that was a heel and not someone who goes over as a heel as a fan favorite. So I like how, like I said, Aiden English was utilized in that match. And the main event was Leo Kruger versus Sami Zayn in the final Beat the Clock match. And we saw Bo Dallas watching from the stage, and I thought that was actually not half bad match as well. What happened was that Sami Zayn got the victory when the ref counted 3 and rang the bell. Here's the thing that I noticed. Now, I don't know if anyone else was keeping an eye on what I was watching, but what I saw was when the ref counted 3, the clock almost hit 0 in a split second, and when the ref rang the bell, it actually hit 0. So there's going to be some... I know I'm going to get a lot of heat probably after saying that because, you know, maybe some people never actually caught that, but I don't know if anyone caught that. If anyone caught that, comment below and let me know where the ref almost counted 3. When he hit the 3, the clock hit 0 and rang the bell. So it was just something that was a little split 15th, 16th of a second off the curve. I thought that was pretty well played out the way that they done it, without realizing that little split second off thing that happened. I don't know if anyone else caught that, but let me know if you did, because I did. And with that being said, I love how this episode of NXT was a breath of fresh air. It was actually a good show. I would give it an 8 out of 10. And with that being said, that was my review of NXT for the MRB Wrestling Review Show. I'm your co-host, Mike McRock Wilson. Get plenty of rest and always do your best.